Welcome to Rise Unwind. Every week on our show, we bring you lifestyle tips, tricks, and more from all the people who know it best. And this week, we have this.
I want people to continue watching Love and Hip Hop Miami, even though that I'm not always the proudest of my behavior or the stories that may come out.
Something very strange about the American car buying psyche that always seems to say, I need the most, I need the biggest, I need the most powerful, I need the most capable. Those are all lovely things, but if you're only driving to work 10 miles a day and picking up the kids at school and going to Costco on Sundays, then you may have overbought.
All that and more on Rise Unwind. Flu cases are spiking again, and experts say this could be another tough season, especially for children. We're joined today by Dr. Candace Robinson with GSK and Megan Parks, a families fighting flu advocate who lost her young daughter to the flu and now works to protect others. Welcome to the show, Dr. Robinson and Megan.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you.
Dr. Robinson, what makes this year's flu season stand out, and who's at the highest risk?
Yeah, the last flu season, the 2024-2025 flu season was one of the most serious in our recent history, probably since around 2017. We had a record number of pediatric deaths and overwhelming levels of illness and hospitalization. When thinking about who's at greatest risk, there are certainly people who are more likely to have serious complications related to flu if they get sick. That includes people over 65, pregnant women, people with certain chronic medical conditions, such as asthma or diabetes, and young children. But, the harsh reality is that anybody can get the flu, even people who feel healthy. And serious complications related to flu can happen at any age.
Megan, can you tell us about your daughter and how your family was affected?
Absolutely. Our daughter, Kennedy, was a vibrant, otherwise healthy 2-year-old little girl who died suddenly from the flu in February of 2023. She tested positive for the flu after developing a fever and some other flu-like symptoms. At that time, she was not vaccinated for the flu. We had always been really diligent with all of her vaccinations, but her routine appointment did not fall within flu season, so she did not get the flu shot that year. When she got sick, we were instructed to monitor her at home, lots of rest and watch for retractions in her breathing and, to go to the ER if she got worse. A couple days later, she woke up with a blue tint to her lips, and I rushed her to the emergency room. About halfway there, she became unresponsive, and I called 911, pulled over. Everybody worked on her, but ultimately we lost her.
That is absolutely heartbreaking. Dr. Robinson, what are some myths or misunderstandings you'd like to clear up about the flu shots?
Absolutely. I think there are common misconceptions out there that certain people may have about the flu shot, about whether it's worth getting a flu vaccine or, what effects the flu vaccine can have. But, the truth is the flu vaccine can help reduce the risk of flu illness, flu-related hospitalizations, and flu-related deaths. And in fact, during the last flu season, the CDC estimates that around 240,000 hospitalizations were prevented because of the flu vaccine. And that was primarily in adults aged 65 years of age and older.
So, Megan, what keeps you motivated to share your story and advocate for the vaccination?
Yeah, our family just simply did not know how serious the flu could be. We didn't know that it could be deadly. And it's just kind of become our mission to help ensure that other families have that knowledge so they don't have to experience a loss of a child from a vaccine preventable illness. We hope by sharing our story, we can encourage people to take the flu seriously and talk to their doctors and pharmacists about getting vaccinated each year.
Dr. Robinson, why should everyone, even healthy adults, make the flu vaccine a part of their yearly routine?
Yeah, again, we highlighted that this last season was a particularly severe flu season. There were an estimated 43 million flu illnesses, over 500,000 flu hospitalizations, and 38,000 flu deaths. And despite widespread awareness about flu, we've seen that flu vaccination rates have remained alarmingly stagnant. And that leaves millions of people vulnerable to flu related illness and flu related complications.
Megan, what's your message to parents who may be hesitant about the flu shot?
Yeah, I wish more people knew that it is a vaccine preventable illness, the flu is, and it's not just the flu in every scenario for us. The flu was a life-changing, um, you know, moment for our family. In an instant, our lives changed, and we'll never know if she was vaccinated that year, if she would have survived getting the flu. But when you lose a child, you don't want to have those what ifs in your head. You want to make sure that you've checked every box of trying to keep your child safe. So just really important to have those conversations with your doctor to protect, your family and loved ones from the flu.
Of course. Dr. Robinson, where can people find more reliable information or information about getting vaccinated?
Absolutely. Like Megan said, it's really important to have that conversation with your pharmacist, with your doctor. Flu vaccines are often available in clinical settings, but may also be available in pharmacies, et cetera. So have that conversation with your healthcare professional, with your doctor, with your pharmacist about flu vaccination today. And for more information on flu prevention, you can also visit cdc.gov/flu.
Dr. Candace Robinson and Megan Parks, thank you for sharing your story and being on the show with us today.
Thank you.
Hot flashes don't always look the same, and for some women, they can be really disruptive. Menopause symptoms can affect work, sleep, and overall quality of life. Today, we're joined by Dr. Diana Bitner, Chief Medical Officer of True Women's Health, and Wendy Lee Curtis, who's sharing her experience. Thank you both for being here.
We appreciate you having us. Thank you.
Talking about menopause.
Well, it's great to have you too. Wendy, tell me, what has your experience been like dealing with moderate to severe hot flashes due to menopause?
Well, every woman's experience with hot flashes is different, but my experience is that I had moderate to severe hot flashes that would come on suddenly. My hot flashes could come up anytime, anywhere, no matter how inconvenient. And when they were severe, they really, really impacted me in my life at home, at work, and with my friends.
And Dr. Bitner, how do women know when their hot flashes may be more than mild symptoms?
So hot flashes are a very common reason women seek care in menopause. And a moderate hot flash is one that can stop you in your tracks, but maybe not associated with a lot of sweating. A severe hot flash is that sense of warmth that just starts from the inside and can erupt out with sweating. It can be very visible, as Wendy said, to the naked eye. If you're on camera, if I'm seeing a patient, like that hot flash night sweat can definitely disrupt a woman's life.
And can you explain what Lynkuet is and what the clinical trials found?
Sure. So Lynkuet is a non-hormone prescription FDA-approved therapy that has been backed up with clinical data from a group of studies called the OASIS trials. The OASIS trials looked at the clinical efficacy and safety of Lynkuet, and it showed efficacy in women as early as 1 week, but definitely at 4 weeks and 12 weeks compared to placebo. Women had a reduction in severity and frequency of their hot flashes and night sweats.
So what can you share about the safety of Lynkuet?
Super important to talk about. We know that Lynkuet can have side effects and effect on the nervous system, such as if women have a history of seizure, they could have an increased risk of having a seizure. Of course, women who are pregnant should not take Lynkuet, and it can affect the liver lab values. We also know that it causes the most common side effects of fatigue, headache, and nausea, and can even cause sleepy time, that sleepiness that affects daytime effects. It's really important that women go to Lynkuet.com and check out the prescribing information and then talk to their provider to see if it's right for them.
Wendy, what advice can you give to somebody who may be feeling frustrated or maybe overwhelmed by these symptoms?
So it's important to note that I am not on Lynkuet, but the one thing I would absolutely say with my whole heart is please, please be relentless in seeking support and care around menopause symptoms. Don't be afraid to describe your symptoms. with your healthcare provider and talk about options like what might work for you. And just know that it may take some time to figure out exactly what the right fit is. And don't get discouraged. You're too important. Your wellness, your wholeness, getting back to you is too important. So just keep talking, keep asking until you get the relief that you deserve.
Where can our viewers go for more information?
So people can go to the website lynkuet.com. That's LYNKUET.com, and certainly talk to their healthcare provider to see if Lynkuet is right for them.
Dr. Bitner, Wendy, thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
The holidays are officially behind us. The cookies are gone, the wrapping paper is everywhere, and a lot of us are realizing that the best deals of the season are actually happening right now. Yep, once the gifts are open, the end of your car savings kick into high gear. Joining us today to navigate the post-holiday car hunt is James Bell, Head of Corporate Communications at Kia America. James, welcome. Oh, and I promise that we are all still in our stretchy pants.
Well, I'm glad you can't see my pants. You're right. Same here.
Well, now that the holidays are over, why is this stretch between Christmas and New Year's such a smart time for people to be looking for a good deal on a vehicle?
Well, the year end is kind of traditionally been thought of as a good time to go car shopping, and I guess it makes sense. Manufacturers are offering special deals to their outlets to make sure that they can push as hard as they can. The dealers are then putting incentives to their to their salespeople to help them close up deals. So yeah, there is something to be said for how this is the right time to go shopping, but the fact that you can mix that opportunity with great amount of information, inside information, if you will, that'll help you become an even smarter shopper is really where the magic is. And so, being able to know what vehicles are doing very well, that might allow you to find a vehicle that maybe isn't doing so well, but is a better fit for you and your family. That's the information you need to go and make the best deal.
And before heading out to a dealership, preferably after we recover from all that holiday sugar, what kind of research should shoppers be doing ahead of time?
First and foremost is really to spend time with yourself and say, what do I really need in my next car? There's something very strange about the American car buying psyche that always seems to say, I need the most, I need the biggest, I need the most powerful, I need the most capable. Those are all lovely things. But if you're only driving to work 10 miles a day and picking up the kids at school and going to Costco on Sundays, then you may have overbought. So it's really about finding the vehicle that best fits your lifestyle as opposed to you trying to fit into the lifestyle of the vehicle. And it'll also save you a lot of money. You might find that just a small sedan is really what you need for commuting to and from school or work. Maybe just a small crossover as opposed to a big one. You don't need as much cargo space as you originally think. All those little moments allow you to really fine tune what kind of machine you want. So then when you go shopping, you can be a much more savvy buyer and not get pushed into something that exceeds what you need.
And are there specific vehicle categories seeing better incentives during these end of year days?
It really depends. Let's talk about the Telluride. That's Kia's, 3-row SUV. Been a huge success. Outsells itself year on year, which is such a strange thing. Usually vehicles do very well and then kind of crest down. Telluride continues to go up. Well, at the LA Auto Show just a few months ago, we introduced the next generation Telluride. So we're starting into the closeout period on the current generation, which is still very, very popular. So that's an opportunity, and that's just not at Kia, that's at every car company. They all have the different cadence of vehicles coming and going. Knowing that information can really help you fine-tune your shopping experience.
And if viewers want more details or want to compare more vehicles, where can they find more reliable information?
An easy place for that I would recommend is kia.com, because we've got a great resource there with all of our different types of vehicles, electric vehicles, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, gasoline. It's all there. But for the car shopping, I really, really suggest places like Edmunds.com or KellyBlueBook.com, because not only do they have great economic advice, but they also have that kind of inside the industry information on which vehicles are doing well, where their opportunities might lie, and especially like in the Telluride, which vehicles are starting to phase out.
James Bell, I'm actually in the market for a new car, so this is all very good information. Thank you. And I also want to thank you for being on the show
You're
with us
welcome.
today.
For you, it's free, no problem.
Woohoo!
Ever watch a racing movie and think there's no way that could actually happen? That's exactly what F1 the movie set out to avoid, putting real racing logic behind every pass, every turn, and every close call. So joining us is Luciano Bacchetta, the film's driving sequence choreographer and a former Formula 2 champion who helped train the cast and design the racing so it felt authentic from the driver's seat out. Luciano, it's great to have you here with us. How are you?
Very well, thanks for having me.
When people hear racing choreography, they might picture something flashy, but for you, it starts with realism. What was your first priority when designing racing for F1 the movie?
It's exactly what you said, realism. So, every race in this movie, I just wanted to make sure that it would not interrupt the flow of a viewer. If you're watching it and you know you're racing, you'd be like, yep, that would happen, this would happen, that's legit. And that was a big part in choreographing the sequences. But the choreography was only possible if we have our two lead actors also driving and taking it on. So it started off with the training. We had to train them both for 4 months to be able to drive these cars, not just fast, but safely, and also have the capacity to take on the quite complicated choreography that we would come up with.
You trained Brad Pitt and Damson Idris to actually drive these cars. What surprised you most about how they adapted once they got out of the simulator and onto the actual track?
Yeah, I mean, it was a process. What surprised me is how quickly they took it on, because most racing drivers have 10 years to build up to driving these cars, or 15 years from when they start go-karts. We had 4 months, and so it was really intense and a lot of information being thrown at them. And also they had to consider the fact that they're also making a movie. They've got to look at the script, and they've got dialogue scenes and other stuff to worry about. So for them, it was so full on, but they really immersed themselves into the process of becoming racing drivers, which is what it was. We weren't just teaching them to drive, we were teaching them to become racing drivers, down to the point of how they behave in the garage. How do you put your helmet on? How do you put your balaclava on? All those small details. And it all went into creating an environment for them to drive in that they belonged in and they felt comfortable in. And the more comfortable they felt, the more spare capacity they had in their minds to take on what we were throwing at them with choreography. So yeah, it was a lot. It was fun. And there was some real fun times in rehearsal when we were going wheel to wheel with, I'd be wheel to wheel with Brad, and we were having challenges like he had to keep me behind with no rules, and he could squeeze me on the grass if he wanted to, and he did. So yeah, it was very fun.
This film was shot during real Grand Prix weekends with very limited time to get the shots. How much planning went into making sure every racing moment served the story and made sense to real fans, and what challenges did that provide?
So, like you said, we would sometimes have only 10 minutes or a 15-minute window on a Formula 1 weekend. So it meant that we had to prepare so much before those sessions. So as a stunt team, we would simulate the sequences. We'd go on our simulators with Craig, with the other drivers, and we'd drive what we were proposing to do, what the script called for. We'd show it to Joe Kosinski, our director. He'd come back with tweaks. We'd come up with proposals for better ideas. So before we even got to the shoot day or the race weekend, we'd already driven it. And Brad and Damson would jump in on that as well. So they drive the sequences before we get there. So we were all prepared before we got to shoot day with what we were going to do on tracks. And when we went out there, we had two-way radios, we'd talk, but we were so comfortable. We just went out there and we did it straight away, which was very rewarding, but also challenging, because sometimes a 10-minute window would get cut down to 7 minutes if there was an incident in the session before. So we always had curveballs and we always had to get around them, but as a team, we would plan for these hurdles and come up with contingencies.
Lewis Hamilton was also closely involved in shaping how the racing looked and felt. How did this input add to the authenticity of those sequences?
Lewis's input was so wide-ranging, from sound, making sure that the cars sounded correct and the correct gears were being used, and you could hear elements that only he would be able to give input in from his experience driving all the time, but also allowing us, Lewis was a huge part in having Formula One on board and even allowing us to drive on these Formula One weekends and create the realistic shots. So, he was involved in the script. It was just so wide-ranging to have Lewis, and the movie would not have been possible without his input.
Luciano, I want to thank you for joining me today. F1 the movie is streaming now on Apple TV, and if you want to see what real racing feels like from inside the cockpit, this one's worth a watch. Thanks again for joining me today.
Thanks very much. Thank you for having me.
From comedy to music to reality TV, Love and Hip Hop Miami has always been about big personalities and even bigger life moments. This season, familiar faces are stepping in very different chapters, both on and off camera. We caught up with Michael Blackson, Amada La Negra, and Miami legend Trick Daddy to talk growth, legacy, and what viewers can expect this season. Welcome to the show, you three.
Oh my God, I love you so much. This is so much fun. Let's do it.
Michael, fans are seeing a very personal chapter for you this season. Becoming a father again wasn't exactly part of the plan, but how has that changed your perspective right now?
You know what? Here's the thing. You know, my youngest prior to the two new babies, my youngest are twin boys that are 18 years old. I mean, I really felt like I was done. You know, felt like I was free now to, you know, no more child support. I could just run the word and just do whatever I wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, this happened. It was nothing that was planned. It just happened. But the thing about the babies, every time that I pick them up and look at them, they put a smile on my face. They give you a reason to live longer, you know. So babies are nothing but a blessing from God, and they encourage you to like live longer and work harder because you just want to see them, you want to watch them grow. So they've been a new bundle of joy in my life, and they are boys, and you know, there's nothing like an African man giving birth to two new kings. You know, so it's a great feeling. I'm not even going to front on it, even though it was nothing that I was looking forward to, I was looking forward to happening. But when it happened, it brought me a new life.
Amada, viewers have watched you grow for years, not just personally, but as a businesswoman and a mom. As this new season begins, where are you right now?
Thank you so much. Well, look, I have launched Eternal Beauty. It's doing very well. This collaboration that I did with this Mexican company called Cermat. Now we're putting out my second perfume called Revenge, because success is the best revenge. And that will be coming out soon as well. I continue to invest in real estate, you know, continue to grow the legacy for my daughters. And every birthday, every October, I buy a new property, which I think is so important for the Black community to leave something for the next generation to come. I'm working on Desiguales, the talk show that I do Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. on Univision. I will be doing a movie next year. I'm already working with my acting coach to get those things together. I'm always looking to evolve and grow and take advantage of the wave while it's high. And obviously, I want people to continue watching Love and Hip Hop Miami, even though that I'm not always the proudest of my behavior or the stories that may come out. I think that the most important thing is that our lives are relatable to many people. I believe that there's a lot of lessons learned from watching this show. And yes, it's entertaining, but if you really pay attention and you look at the depth of the stories, there are many things that are very relatable to the people that watch. And on my behalf, the one thing I can tell all females, make sure to do your research. Make sure to do your research before you start dating anyone. Expose them, put pictures. Don't do it. But other than that, I'm doing very well.
Trick, you're already an icon in Miami, but this season people are seeing more of your personal life, you know, a bit beyond the music, the business, the community work. What side of you are viewers getting now?
But you know, I'm just gonna try to be myself. You know what I'm saying? Stay afloat. And you know, I'm getting older now. So I opened up another restaurant in the Fort Lauderdale area in the Six Trunk neighborhood. And I'm trying to open up my breakfast spot because Sundays has a sister company affiliated with it called Blue Hen. So y'all be looking forward to the breakfast spot. And I'm just doing, you know, I'm like Michael Black. I appreciate people like Michael Black. So he's trying to make America black again by bringing more kids into the, you know, to the world. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to also do that without trying to bash anybody, without trying to do anything. Florida just turned blue. I just want y'all to know that. It's going to be a lot of changes. Nobody will be bamboozled. Nobody will be tricked and fooled no more. Florida just turned blue. When the government shut down, me and my business partner, along with Reggie Leon of Miami Gardens, we fed all the federal workers who didn't get paid. We fed them every day, every chance we got, and we fed them for free, and they appreciate it. And all of us, we got to stick together because we got to live in this world together, man.
I want to thank you three for joining me today. New chapters, real growth, and no shortage of stories. Love and Hip Hop Miami returns with a brand new season, Tuesdays at 8 Eastern and Pacific on BET. And this one digs a little deeper. I want to thank you three for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
That's right.
Love you. Besito. Bye.
What happens when ambition, loyalty, and survival collide in the oil fields of West Texas? Landman from Oscar-nominated creator Taylor Sheridan is back on Paramount Plus, and season 2 is already making waves. So joining me this morning are Jacob Laughlin, who stars as Cooper Norris, and Mustafa Speaks, who brings serious intensity as Boss. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Good. Doing great. How are you?
Doing good. All right, season 2 dives right in. Where do we pick up with your characters and how have things changed since last season?
It's really a direct continuation. I think we're jumping right back into things, and yeah, we've got a filled season with a star-studded cast and some great writing to bring off the page, and hope the world loves it.
And Taylor Sheridan's shows always have this like raw, real energy. What's it like working with him and his storytelling world and getting that distinct Sheridan grit?
Well, for me, I can liken it to just being in the locker room, you know, in a football season, playing in a championship game. I mean, it's just that real, raw, authentic energy. And Taylor is just so focused and has such a vision for what it is he wants that you can trust his leadership, and that trickles all the way down.
Agreed. That's beautiful.
And the show captures both the boom and the burden of the oil industry. How'd you both bring that emotional weight to your performances?
I think we were fortunate enough in the first season, they put us in a roughneck camp, and it really opened our eyes to the world and the dedication, the risk involved, the danger that's just evident and looming every day. So that really helped us to put ourselves in it. When you realize what's on the line, what's at stake, it raises the bar just a touch.
And you both have worked on some pretty big projects like Joker 2, Joe Pickett, Maze Runner. What makes Landman stand out for you guys personally?
Well, for me, what stands out is just the story. I mean, of course, not taking anything away from all of the other projects, amazing projects I've worked on, but this just has a distinct stamp. And the stamp is what makes it so popular amongst the people is the authenticity and telling this story that otherwise would have never been told. The people that work in the oil field and control things that we need and use every day. So I absolutely love and gravitate toward real authentic projects like this.
And for anyone who hasn't started season 2 yet, what makes this the perfect time to catch up? And what moments are you most excited for viewers to actually see?
Well, it's a hard question. I don't think I have any moments specifically. I think as a whole, it's just there was so much hard work that went into this season, and it's such a great story. We get to dive into these characters and really get to know who they are, even more so than the first season. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to people's reaction to the entire thing in a whole.
All right.
Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me this morning. You could stream season 2 of Landman right now exclusively on Paramount Plus. It stars Billy Bob Thornton, Demi Moore, Andy Garcia, Sam Elliott, and of course, our guests, Jacob Laughlin and Mustafa Speaks. It's a story of power, pressure, and survival in the heart of West Texas. Don't miss it. I want to thank you two for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching Rise Unwind. Please visit us on our website at riseunwindtv.com. Follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube at Rise Unwind. And thanks for tuning in. You take care. We'll see you next week.